Test, test. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for your attendance in this second last panel of today. The Esports Forum has been quite an inspiring forum so far, and we have two panels left. Now, a big part of what mobilizes not only our community as the gaming and esports community, but any community in the world, are the young people, the next generation, the youth. And the choices they make, the desires they have, the passion they have, the voices they have are going to impact the world through times, especially the times of today. And as governments, businesses, organizations, stakeholders, thought leaders, we should not only try to talk with the youth, but we should also especially try to listen and try to guide them in fulfilling their potential and their vision towards creating a better world, the better world of tomorrow, hopefully today. Now, my name is Koen Schobbers. I am a board member and the vice chair of the Athletes, Players and Community Commission of the Global Esports Federation. In the industry, I'm an entrepreneur and keynote speaker, but today I'll be your moderator, and we'll be talking about youth and the future of work with these amazing panelists. So please, a round of applause to invite them all on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we have some great conversations coming up, some great things we're going to talk about. First of all, I like to talk about the current state. So what do you see as the impact of youth today? Garvey, please. Oh, the introductions. We got to start with the introductions, excuse me. So to introduce the panelists, they will introduce themselves. We'll start at the right with Garvey. We move to the left and with Ming. So Garvey, please take it away.
Thank you, kind sir. Hi, everybody. My name's Garvey. Real name's Candella. Previously, I was the director of student education programs at Twitch and Amazon for about 8.5 years. Currently, I am the chief strategy officer at a startup focusing on student education programs, again, called AcadArena.
AcadArena, beautiful. Thank you, Garvey. Miss QueenArrow, Sylvia.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sylvia Gathoni. I go by the name QueenArrow. I'm an esports athlete, tech employer, and I'm also a law student, currently pursuing my postgraduate diploma in law at the Kenya School of Law. I'm really honored to be among such great talent, and I hope to share my experiences with you and also learn from everyone who's on stage today.
Yeah, and it's great to have Sylvia in our Athletes, Players and Community Commission as well. Her knowledge and skills are very valuable to our commission. Sayo.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sayo. I'm currently the chair of the Youth Council at the Global Esports Federation. Previously, I worked for the hotel industry as the world's youngest concierge at the age of 22. After that, I was scouted to work as part of the IOC Tokyo Olympics and the Beijing Olympics, and now I've been scouted to be a part of the Youth Council. Thank you very much.
Yeah, an amazing experience in both the traditional sports industry as well as now the esports industry. Craig.
Hi, everybody. I'm Craig Chettle. I'm the chief exec and founder of the Confetti Institute of Creative Technologies. We're proud to be involved in this esports tournament across the Commonwealth Games. We've just been hosting some of the heats and the semi-finals in Nottingham, our new Confetti X facility, and I can't wait to see all the gameplay tomorrow, and really pleased to be a part of this panel, even though I know I'm the oldest one on this panel, so forgive me.
Your insights are going to be very valuable, because don't forget, you work with youth a lot, so we're going to talk about that especially. And finally, Ming Wai, great to have you here.
Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Ming Wei. So I help Global Esports Federation handle all their social media handle, and I'm also like a content creator. So before I was a content creator, I was a full-time taekwondo athlete until COVID happened, and I turned to making more content. Yeah.
Have you tried taekwondo in the back, in the lounge area?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool how it can also be evolved as an esports, like a traditional sport to an esport.
Absolutely. Well, great to have you here. Not to forget, 22 million followers on TikTok and 1 million subscribers on YouTube. So if someone knows how to cope with social media, Ming Wai is the man, and you can definitely approach him after this panel. Now, let's start with the question I initially phrased already, which is, what do you see the impact of youth today? And Craig, Garvey, I'd like to start with you, because you've had a interesting career, recently left Twitch on the educational department. You recently launched your own business now as well, AcadArena. Can you take us a little bit in what you do specifically and the impact of youth in your experience?
Yeah, I'll be honest too. The impact of youth on me has been tremendous. I always just try to say I'm a businessman first and foremost, from Brooklyn, New York. So I like to be very efficient. So I always wondered why the industry was guessing what young people wanted to do, what products, services, and features they wanted, or just where they wanted to be in life. And I was always confused why we were always guessing. Why wouldn't we want to work through education to empower students through education, give them confidence, so when they graduated, they concisely say what exactly they want, so we can listen and actually do. So I just thought it was really a great way working with students and educators especially, just to get the message out to the industry that it's a very young industry. On Twitch alone, we have hundreds of millions of people. The average age is 25 years old, but the executive staff is quite old. So again, I just want to practice what I preach.
Sounds recognizable for many, I would assume.
Yeah, so the new company I'm working for is actually 29 years old. There's one founder. He was my old employee. And the second founder is 22 years old. And I was his first corporate sponsor when he was 16 years old. And they're just making some things that are truly, truly groundbreaking and amazing. So I think it's a great example of what could be.
Yeah, what could be, and also how youth, because he used to be an employee, is now flourishing in his own business. Now, impact of youth today. Greg, you work with, as just mentioned, a lot of young people at the Creative Institute, the Confetti Creative Institute. Can you take us a little bit in what happens inside the Confetti Creative Institute?
Yeah, sure. I mean, to the main question, I think, for me, Confetti's been around for almost 30 years, and I think youth has always influenced what we did from day one and what we're doing now. So whether it's the students that come through and what they want to do, or young members of our teams. Esports was a great example, the most recent example for me. I'm the sort of old guy that signs the checks and, does all that sort of stuff. But I think what I did and what I try and always do is keep my ears open and listen to what, the next thing is going to be. And it's only by doing that and giving youth their opportunity. My role in that is facilitating it. And, to be honest, I'd never really heard of esports up until quite recently. But my team and the students told me about it, told me how big it was going to be, and we're on that journey. Yes, a few of them in the crowd today, thank you. And it's that, really. My role is to help facilitate what these young people can see way beyond what I can see now. So I think if we all listened a bit more to youth, they have their own wisdom, and it's not confined to just old people. So.
Yeah, listening is very important.
Absolutely.
And very often more important than speaking or talking. Sayo, as someone that is young, 23 years old, young, being a chair of the commission, the Youth Council, yourself, working in different industries where you had to work with people older than you, what do you see as the impact of youth in what your career has been so far?
So the Youth Council is made up of 10 people that are all my age, and we come together, we're all from different countries, and we come together to discuss new things that we can do for the Global Esports Federation, and we try to give input on what we should be changing or what we should be doing within GF to make sure that we have spectators that are happy, athletes that are happy, and people we work together that are happy. And I think what we provide is this new point of view, as well as of the flexibility to be able to change things. And I think that's the impact that we have.
What has been your experiencing in working with traditional industries where you had to work with people likely to be older than yourself? So you, as someone that is young, you have an impact, but how did the organization work with you as someone that is of a younger age? What is your experience there? For example, with Scouted by the IOC, being the assistant of someone there as well?
So when I worked for the IOC, it was more that it was obviously traditional sports. So the rules are already set in how we broadcast, how we have guests coming, how we have audience, how we treat the athletes. And so there's already a set expectation as well as how we do things and procedures. But within esports, since it's so new, my team as well as everyone around me give me the space and time to kind of talk and approach things in a new way. And because it's a new industry, we're able to do new things all together and to try new things and succeed.
They gave you the space also to develop yourself, to make mistakes, but also correct them yourself, and eventually it benefits the whole organization, right? QueenArrow, or Sylvia, but better known as QueenArrow. I always stick personally with in-game names. As being a professional player myself for 11 years in the past, I call everyone by in-game names, so don't mind if I mean QueenArrow or Sylvia. You come from the southern hemisphere of the world, Africa. You're very, very passionate about what's happening in that area. You have an amazing career so far. Started playing games when 3 years old, also the first female in East Africa to be contracted to a professional organization. You have a lot of impact yourself in what happens in that side of the world. But when you look around you, are there other young people that are making an impact in the world, what's happening there in the world of today?
Okay, the career that I've managed to have so far, it's because other people took a chance on me because they recognize that, young people, have the esports industry rather is built around young people, and we can't keep doing things the same old. I was recently invited for the Canok Esports series in Guadeloupe, and the Canok organization mentioned the same thing. We need to find new ways to bring young people into the fold because, for example, not many people know about the greats like guys like Kipchoge Keino in the marathon, or let's say Fernando Manyalo. But if you talk to them about people like Ninja, like Pokimane, they can recognize those names because they are relevant to them. So we need to find, let's say, community-centered efforts to bring in young people because the esports industry is going to be even bigger than the traditional sports medium. Yeah,
and how did you experience, as someone that is young, trying to push those boundaries of the organizations and maybe people older than you? How did you experience the path you have taken so far?
My experience hasn't been easy because, to be honest, I'm not as, I'd say, privileged as my peers from here in the European Union or my peers in Asia or my peers in North America, because I've had to face, several obstacles as a result, maybe of my gender, because of my race, or because, from the region that I come from. So, trying to convince people to take a chance on you as an individual from the African region, it's like sometimes talking to a brick wall. Because, they hear Africa, they're like, we don't see the impact. But at some point, you have to find a way to overcome those barriers, and you stop, at some point, you're like, I'm not going to continue seeking from validation from people who don't take a chance on me. I'm going to do what I can with the resources that I have, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, you took it in your own hands, being very proactive.
Yeah, because, you have to be the change that you seek in the world at some point. So you just do what you can and hope for the best.
Yeah, and here you are, sitting now at the Global Esports Forum, the Commonwealth Esports Forum, bringing the message to the audience right here. Now, I do want to go to the next topic, which is all about the trends that we are seeing in the industry right now. So the trends that we see with youth, and who better to start this conversation with than someone that is involved with trends right now. Ming, TikTok, YouTube, social media. What do you see in your environment regarding the trends of the youth of today?
So from what I see is that youth are the one determining the trends now. Like if you see anything online, the trends are all started by youth. It's not like, and that changes the whole like marketing kind of thing. Like in the past, like marketing is like all the traditional media, but right now brands are all jumping on the trends, and those are actually started by the younger people. And the youth are also like creates many new jobs like Twitch and like online and gaming and things like that. So in the past, before youth came to do these things, like no one think there's a viable career, but of course some youth did it and they made it. Then that's how it becomes like a viable.
Well, like yourself.
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, sorry for jumping in. Now, please continue. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
No, but it's impressive. So what you have done, like TikTok is a relatively new social media platform. I mean, new, it's already a couple of years old, but if you compare it to the likes of a YouTube and especially Facebook for the dinosaurs nowadays, I mean, especially youth is not really active on Facebook or like Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. When you look at what the youth has done in that space, yourself as a content creator, you managed to go from making content yourself to having your own business and now like, you know, traveling to events and making making content is your job. When we look at trends in not only the social media space, but the team you are working with or the companies you're working with, what do you notice? Are companies more and more open to talking with you as a content creator, as someone that's young, that can add value to their business, for example?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I think in the past, like even now, many corporates struggle to grow their social media account because like it's known as like being boring. But the thing is, like usually the content aren't as interesting. So when content creators come in to help them create content, they can bring in their creator aspect to make like I always say, like every brand can be a creator and should be a creator because each of them have a story to tell. So by having content creators moving to helping brands to grow their social media, it will also help them to grow better as a brand.
Yeah, and grow their business in return as well. And Garvey, I see you nodding while listening to Ming Wai. Are there some things you recognize in his story just now?
Well, I just like that there's finally a bridge now with the corporate world and the voice of young people, and having a media-savvy, brand-safe ambassador to, you know, promote and speak on the behalf of corporations in a relevant voice, in relevant campaigns, is extremely valuable. It's been what's lacking with companies that want to resonate with Gen Z and millennials, and now Generation Alpha is coming down the pipeline, the first digitally native generation in history. What better way for, you know, corporations and companies to be able to reach out and resonate with young people than a brand-safe, media-savvy young man and young women that can actually, you know, create appropriate campaigns and speak in the voice that's relevant for the target demographic. So that's the power of empowered young people that are confident in their own skin and have no problem speaking about what they care about.
Yeah, and I think also the power of youth, that they're very quick with innovations. They get the hang of the new systems, the new apps, the new whatever it is, and by them being the first ones to use it, they can create a certain energy around them that is interesting for the businesses, the organizations, or federations for you know, our liking, that can make use of the talents that they got by being the early implementers, basically, and use them in their strategies.
Well, the dream would be for companies to trust enough to not only have their voice represented, but ask for advice on appropriate campaigns. And that's the power of education, that's the power of empowerment, letting them create their own campaigns instead of just dictating terms. It just doesn't feel right. And nobody knows better than the three people on the stage what should be said, how to say it, where to be, how to do things. So if you're going to do something, do it 100%, right? Don't just hire an influencer and say, okay, you know, do 3 Instagram posts and 2 TikToks and, you know, hashtag Clorox, right? Clorox should come and say, how can we create a campaign that will resonate? And then just listen.
Yeah, it's like, Ming Wai, what you said, it's creating a story that matches the company, right? And it's also, Sayo, what you mentioned earlier just now about having the freedom to make mistakes and also learn from those mistakes, get the freedom to develop yourself as someone inside an organization, but still having at least some guidance in what you have to produce and what you have to do in order to learn. Now, inside the Youth Council, the Global Esports Federation Youth Council, what are some of the trends you are talking about, meaning some of the topics and a little bit of an explanation about why are you talking about these topics in particular?
Okay, so we obviously talk about social media a lot, so Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, obviously, also Facebook and the others. And although we recognize that, you know, it's very influential and we look at it all the time, the issue becomes that we look at it all the time. And one thing that the Youth Council, we call YOCO, focuses on quite a lot in our meetings is how we can try and limit or at least inform the youth about social media usage and technology usage. And we're trying to work more on safeguarding in a fun way. So there was an event we just did in the end of June where we went to a school in Japan. I'm Japanese, where we went to school in Japan, and we did a thing called a Esports Day. And it's not about just playing games throughout the entire day, but these are very young students. We teach them about the importance of physical health and how that can help with communication, leadership, and so on. And then we go into mental health, and they learn about how they can control themselves, how they can better themselves. And then we go into talking about nutrition, so how blueberry are good for the eyes, and you shouldn't be eating too much chocolate at night. And then at the end of the day, we talk about what you've learned, and then at the end, we all play esports together as a team. And that's one big thing that we did as Yoko. And so currently, we focus quite a lot on mental and physical health through the usage of esports. So esports is used as an educational tool in a sense.
Oh, that's very impressive. So a lot of focus on the healthy balance of not only the gamer, but people in the industry, basically, keeping in mind sleep, nutrition, what you mentioned, physical health, mental health, as we heard today, is a very big topic in the world, and I'm pretty sure that Dr. Melita Moore, sitting in the audience, knows all about it with her work as well, and being the founder of Health E, a gamer herself. Now, I think that when we look at trends, I want to talk about Africa, because when we look in the world, also in the esports industry, America, very big in industry and gaming in general. Of course, Asia cannot be underestimated, gigantic, what's happening there. Europe is also at least hopping behind the two very big industries. I saw Darren Koen here as well, leading in Australia with the Australian Federation there. So Australia is en route, but Africa, very interesting industry. There's so much potential in Africa. When you look at the trends in Africa regarding esports, what do you see around you? What is happening in Africa that is going to benefit the esports industry and therefore also the community in that area?
When you talk about the African region and esports, I think a huge chunk of our strength comes from the players. A lot of the times you find that games like FIFA, Call of Duty, Apex Legends, these are huge games, especially FIFA, because FIFA is essentially a religion. We all love our football. Let me slam the Manchester United a little bit in the process. But anyway, there's that love for football, and a lot of the times when you go to gaming cafes or you talk to someone about gaming, they're like, oh, do you play FIFA? Do you play maybe Call of Duty, Apex Legends? But in as much as we talk about AAA gaming, I think our trump card might be in mobile gaming because it's more accessible to the African region. Unfortunately, the reality of the matter is, consoles and PCs are very out of reach of many young individuals, especially when you start factoring in a very punitive tax regime. But for mobile gaming, everybody owns a smartphone more often than not, and we find that publishing companies like Activision have made an effort to bring in their games like Call of Duty Mobile to Android and Apple iOS. So there's now, and I think even companies like Red Bull have seen the same trend, and that's why they have the mobile esports open, or the MU as we all know it. And now they're trying to tap into that market to engage young people. And I feel that mobile gaming will be a very huge driving factor towards the, Africa being part of the esports market, if now, let's say, the cost of data was also more affordable to young people.
Yeah, it's first of all, affordable, but also very accessible. And I think in another panel earlier today, someone mentioned that it's not strange that people there all have a phone, but not a PlayStation 5 or PC at home, because it's so much more accessible. You don't have to dig in the ground, get the cables in there, a good internet connection, good hardware, which is expensive across the globe. A phone is very accessible, and also you can play Fortnite on PC, there's also Fortnite on your mobile phone, as well as many games that are developed nowadays are being developed for multiple platforms, and you play cross-platform at the same time, so you can compete with the rest of the world on PlayStation, PC, or mobile phone, simultaneously, which is, of course, a great way to at least start developing the African region as well and getting more engaged, because there's so many talents like yourself in the African area that are maybe not yet seen or can't develop themselves to a certain level because of what you mentioned before, the way that they don't have accessibility to certain things that maybe European Americans or Asians do. Now, when looking at the technology, you mentioned the phones are very important. Are there any other technological advancements in the African region that are helping you to promote esports and gaming in that area?
Okay, let me talk from the Kenyan experience. Now, I feel for Kenya we have an advantage when it comes to the rest, when compared to the rest of the African region, in that internet penetration is actually quite thorough. We have companies like Liquid Technologies. Actually, the CEO of Liquid Technologies is here with us. He's been very helpful. He's been a huge advocate for the esports industry, and he's been providing internet connection to some of our LAN parties in Nairobi. For South Africa, I think they have an advantage when it comes to some of the servers not being based there. When we've been petitioning developers to start putting servers in the African region, and they've started looking at South Africa as a potential market, and also in Northern Africa. And yeah, those are just some of the, I'd say, technological advancements that are coming up. Then for, I think, West Africa, there's I'd say, a huge sense of community, like when it comes to pushing events. Gamer Africa has been one of the startups that has been instrumental in tournament organization. The CEO is also here with us in the audience, and she might be able to tell you more about that.
Yeah, very interesting. It's definitely someone to chat to afterwards. But you mentioned events, and Craig, Confetti is not only a creative institute at the moment, it's also the place where the athletes perform their matches before they go on stage here, with the Gaff House being located at Confetti. How has it been there, and what kind of trends do you see in the students that you have inside Confetti, and how they participate in creating everything you're doing right there?
Yes, I mean, it's been great to be, we hosted Jeff House over the last few days in Nottingham at Confetti, and it's been fantastic. And I think, there's a community of people like the British esports, the global esports, people that we've come together with. We met Garvey through these guys, and there are there are people like us that are listening and are here for the youth, and hopefully the youth will keep pushing. And but it's been really fascinating to see an event like this on a global stage, and also on this stage, quite physically, behind me, I think it's about 10 of our students, whilst they're still students, driving some of this content, which is a joy for me. You don't have to study, leave your college or university, and then get a job. You can work on events like this. And Confetti is all about that. We have this phrase that's called "do it for real." It means just get on and get your hands dirty and do jobs like this and get involved. And that's the ethos that I'd like to think more educational institutions would adopt, really. And the trends that we're seeing are incredibly exciting. It's esports in particular at a younger level in the UK is growing sort of so quickly. And it's up to sort of older institutions like mine and the university that we're part of, Nottingham Trent, to keep up with those trends. Because if we don't, universities are classically terribly slow at reacting to things. And thankfully, we're not in that environment ourselves. So it's great. But you guys are pushing so hard, so fast. We've got to keep up with that. And that's the excitement for me.
Yeah, absolutely. They're pushing you to move forward as well. They're giving you energy, basically.
Totally, every day.
And when we look at how organizations can, as mentioned in my introduction, how organizations can help and guide youth to eventually fulfill their potential, how does Confetti engage with this topic?
It's one of those things that it's sort of in our DNA now. We've been doing it for so long, and we've been, it's just something that feels natural, and when you don't do it, it feels strange that people don't do it. I mean, we talk a lot at Confetti about being this integrated approach to everything, and I'm blessed with, we have 2,500 students studying with us at the moment. I think I was talking to Jin, our head of esports. By this September, we'll have 250 students studying esports. 10% of what we're doing, and that's only going to get bigger and more exciting. And it's our job to keep pace with it. And I think when you're in organisations that's been around for a while, there'll be new things like esports come along, and it's up to me to keep listening. And whatever's next is really exciting too. So that's hopefully how we do it. We listen to people. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Listening to people. Ming, you're nodding as well, while Craig is mentioning what happens inside Confetti. Do you have any any experiences that match what he is saying himself?
I mean, he talked about like the number of esports students are like increasing, like 250, and I think esports really give like a lot of opportunity for people like who's trying to make a career out of it. Like you don't need to be like a pro player to, let's say, monetize on esports. You can just be like a live streamer on Twitch and other platforms. You can just be creating content. You can be creating content for games, or you can also create content for gaming companies. So these are just some of the ways someone can monetize from doing esports. And of course, like events like this, there's so many, like for a successful event like this to happen, there's so many people behind to make this happen. So I can see that esports is a growing industry, and there's like definitely a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, and what type of tips or advices would you give to organizations to help them with guiding talent and youth like yourself into their organization to maybe eventually leadership positions?
I think they have to be open and like just trust them. Like I think the first step is to just trust them that they're able to do a good job. Yeah.
Do a good job. Like trust is a theme throughout the conference today, already throughout the forum today already. Garvey, you're nodding there as well. It's a theme, trust, that is important in business, I can imagine, but also trusting the younger generation to do a good job. What's your standpoint?
It's not even a theory anymore, right? It's proven. It's proven. And the power of education and supporting the next generation through esports and gaming, it's not a theory anymore. It works, right? These skills are valuable and transferable. Almost every panel today has touched on this, right? You can learn in an engaging way. You can meet students where they are, support the next generation, teach them valuable skill sets moving forward in a relevant way that can be applied to a host of industries, right? It's not a theory anymore. Right? We just need more panels like this. We need more empowered, confident, educated young people in the next generation to have the trust of companies to just say, what if? Right? And to me, it's not even a what if. It's a tried and proven formula. If you really want to be successful. And, I have a quote, if you don't mind, from a professor at a historically black college and university in America. And she told me, students are made of dreams. If you want to predict the future, ask a student what they're dreaming of. What better business rationale can you have for supporting the next generation and listening to the next generation? You can do good, efficient business with people that know what they're about and have been trained and have the utmost confidence in themselves and the power that they could contribute to a company. They only need that chance. And again, it's not a gamble anymore. It's there for you, right? Take that leap of faith. It's a tried and proven method now. Listen, and things will work out.
Yeah, that's, I think, a very, very nice quote. Thanks for bringing that one up. And talking about, there's a company I know in the Netherlands called Eiffel, from the Eiffel Tower, but then Eiffel is the name. And their average age, they're a big organization, hundreds of people, and their average age is around 29 years old in the organization. They have so many students walking around, but they say that because of the energy and the innovation that youth is bringing, they are eager to work in the business. They are eager to not only prove themselves, but to move the company forward in these times today. So what you mentioned completely fits into what their psychology is, and I bet there's many other businesses that can learn from that as well.
I just had last weekend, so the new company I'm at, we had our first live event. We had 33,000 people come. We had 100 student volunteers, paid student volunteers that worked for us. The first day we had line apocalypse, right? We had 15,000 people waiting online for a venue that only allowed one security guard that checks vaccine cards and a metal detector. That was the convention center's rules. They wouldn't let us pay for more security guards, whatever. At the night, we had a conference with the volunteers, and we asked them, what was the problem? How would you have solved it? What can we do tomorrow? And we sat and we listened. The next day, 0 complaints. The lines moved really quickly. We listened to the student volunteers. We did what we were told, and the next day was absolutely smooth. So again, it's not theory, it works.
It works, it's proven to work as well. Now, as we have only 5 minutes remaining, I would like to go around the panel. Time flies, we were speaking about it just now, like we have 45 minutes. We are going to have too little time, and it is proven to be too little, but the content produced here on stage, hopefully very, very valuable for you, your organization, your business, and the Commonwealth Esports Forum. Now, to finish it off, talk about future of youth in a short answer. So we spoke about the impact of youth right now. We spoke about what organizations can do to help guide youth into maybe even leadership positions. But where do we see the impact of what's happening right now with the youth, which we spoke about just now, in 5 years, in 10 years? Where do you think it is going, and how can we help the younger generation to get there? And QueenArrow, I'd like to start with yourself.
I think the future of youth in 5 to 10 years is that we're going to be paying it forward to the upcoming generation. As I said earlier, that I'm a law student, and I'm not going to be playing Tekken forever or whatever other game I decide to play in future. There's a point that I'm going to retire from active esports, but I feel that it's my responsibility to make sure that the next generation has it easier coming up, and I'm going to use my law degree and my knowledge in law and my experience as an esports athlete to make sure that the industry is better regulated, to make sure that there are no predatory laws, no predatory agents in the esports industry. So that's in maybe helping players learn how to negotiate their contracts, to and understand what is expected of them. Moreover, I actually also did my Bachelor of Laws thesis on microtransaction in video games. So I feel that I'm also going to help my country create better laws to make sure that we also don't have predatory revenue models in video games.
I love the passion and so much potential, and thanks for being a leader in your respective region as well as in the commission that we're having and attending here during the forum. Sayo, yourself, what do you see when where the future of youth is going to be in 5 to 10 years, or where do you see the Youth Commission or yourself in 5 to 10 years?
So I don't think I could have set up any better than she did, but it's just to make sure that when I'm older, the youth then will be able to make an impact easily or easier than it is now, and to make sure that they're heard completely. This Youth Council is a council created by youth for youth, and we work every day to make sure that youth is heard and not just ignored, and we try to make sure that action is taken instead of reactions to what's happening, and we try to be an active council to make sure that, yeah, we're all happy.
Yeah, beautiful. I think that's a great addition as well to not only the Global Esports Federation, but I would suggest to organizations that maybe don't have either a youth council or a young advisory board, to try and see if it's possible to have that in your respective business, in your industry, because the value you can get being advised from young people is so valuable, like you already experienced, Craig. So when looking ahead in the upcoming years and the future of youth, leadership, what do you see? Where do you see it going?
I mean, I don't know what it feels like being young anymore, because it was a long, long time ago for me, but definitely keep pushing. I think the older generation need youth even more than they probably ever needed it, with the rate of change in technology. And when you're young and you've got all that drive, as long as you keep knocking on the door and pointing out what should be coming next, hopefully there'll be people like Garvey and people like me and people like Chester and Paul and so on that are listening to you. And also, just picking up on what you said a moment ago, just remember when you're older and the people that maybe ignored you, don't you ever ignore anyone. Give them a chance, and I think I see a positive future, really positive future. So good luck.
Yeah, you're on a good road with Confetti, that's for sure. Ming, why? The future of youth, couple of years, where do you see it going?
I mean, I feel that youth is the one like determine the trends, and like for example, like TikTok is the most viewed website for like last year, more than Google, like because of youth who started it. So I think like for the future, I think it still remains to be seen, like because things are changing so fast. Every day there's like new technology. Now there's like the metaverse, and who knows what is the future of that. So I would say that I would just keep learning from them, like never stop learning. I would say that keep hearing from them. Like even now, I'm 28 years old this year, and I feel a bit old, and I'm also learning from the youth, like the younger people, like what is the trends, what is upcoming, because they're the one who is determining the trend. Yeah.
Very well. And then finally, Garvey, the future.
You know, if you just hear the running trends again, just what's being spoken on here, we can't help but have a better future each and every day through unconditional support of students and educations. And you could see there's a running theme here, right? It's lift as you climb. And this is what really brought me into the student space and education especially, because there's this feeling, and the economic term is the passion economy. And the students taught me this, and it's built on two philosophical tenets: compassionate capitalism and social entrepreneurship. So they want to help each other grow, right? And these current leaders are inspirations for the next. And they're always thinking, what 3 people can I affect? And their only ask is those 3 people find 3 people themselves to lift up. So lift as you climb. We can't help, and I'm getting goosebumps thinking about this, because this is students telling me, this is students teaching me what the meaning of lift as you climb
That's great.
is.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for attending this panel. To finalize it, we have one more panel after this. That's going to be the last one of the day. And to end with a banger, end with a quote, I'd like to give you this one: we don't stop playing because we grow old because we stop playing. So please keep playing in your business, life, or whatnot. Thank you for listening to this panel, and I enjoy, you hope, the rest of the Commonwealth Esports Championships.
I love you, Andy. Love you, Andy.